All right. Good morning, everybody, and thank you for turning up in such large numbers. Welcome to this press briefing on the occasion of the EU Week of Regions and Cities. I'm joined by Executive Vice President Fitto on behalf of the Commission, and I'm also joined by the President of the Committee of Regions, Mrs. Kata Tüttő. We are going to start with some introductory presentations, and afterwards we'll take your questions. First, I give the floor to EVP Fitto, please.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here. President Tutto, dear Kata, I'm very glad to welcome you today here in the Bergamo. I have been a guest many times at the Committee of the Regions, so Kata, it is now a pleasure to have you today. It is also a pleasure to share with you the launch of our first European Week of Regions and Cities together. This is the 23rd edition. We always say that cohesion policy brings Europe to the territories and closer to European citizens. But this week, it is the territories that are meeting here in Brussels through their many representatives at the regional and local level. I will be brief. The motto of this year's edition is Shaping Tomorrow Together. The key word is together. When I first visited the Committee of the Regions, just after my appointment as Executive Vice President for Cohesion and Reforms, President Tutto gave me a sport shirt of Team Cohesion with my name on it. We keep playing on the same team, and the thousands of people, representative of European cities and regions during this week and every day in our work together, the discussion we will have and the awards we will give are all proof of that. So together we must shape the future, starting from the present. That is why we have selected three main themes centered around three pivotal topics: cohesion and growth for the future, right to stay, unlocking the potential of every territory, and cities building tomorrow. On cohesion and growth, in the first month of my mandate, I worked with the Member States and regions to modernize cohesion policy with the mid-term review. The regulation is now fully operational, allowing Member States to adapt the programs of the current period 21-27 to new priorities. Member States and regions can now invest cohesion policy resources in 5 new key priorities: competitiveness, defence, water management, energy transition and housing, benefiting from financial incentives. So, this lays the groundwork for more efficient action today. The mid-term review is an opportunity to make things work now, to show our ability to spend funds efficiently and to create growth. We can create growth already now in the current programming period. The achievements of Europe's regions are a stepping stone for tomorrow, helping us prepare the ground to make Europe's future stronger. I would like to thank you, Kata, and the Committee of Regions for the constructive cooperation. The second theme is right to stay, unlocking the potential of every territory. This is about the right of every European to remain and build their future in the place they call home. Here, we will discuss the synergies among different policies. We will discuss the factors that make people decide whether to stay or to leave. Job opportunities, access to healthcare, childcare, education, sustainable mobility, affordable housing. We must work on all of these with an integrated approach to truly unlock the potential of every territory and guarantee the right to stay. The third theme is cities. Urban policy is crucial for Europe's growth and competitiveness. Cities are on the front line responding to citizens' needs and are the places most capable of creating opportunities for personal and professional development. Very different cities experience very similar challenges: sustainable mobility, access to public services, affordable housing. These are the topics we will discuss this week: how to deliver for citizens, citizens living in cities, citizens with the right to stay, citizens seeking opportunities for growth. This is our focus. And now I give the floor to President Tutto, and please, Kata, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, dear Raffaele, dear Executive Vice President Fitto. Welcome everyone to our Week of Cities and Regions. This is a zooming experience. Why we say it's a zooming in, it is time to see what is happening, to zoom in our cities, in our regions, all across Europe. During this week, we have more than 6,000 participants, more than 200 workshops. It's a place where leaders meet from the European Commission, from the European Parliament, from the local level, from the towns, from the regions, from the cities, from the rural, from the islands, meeting the administration too. What are we doing? What is our mission together with Raffaele Fitto? Is to see how cohesion policy and prove how cohesion policy works on the ground, how to make it work even better. Because what we see, and when we zoom in, what we see a lot of pain and a lot of pressure point, but also we see creativity, a lot of ambition, a lot of ideas, a lot of diverse way of coping with all the challenges that are coming. We also present the report on the state of cities and regions. It's a report with many layers. You can zoom in and see the challenges and see a lot of ambition and different solutions. I would like to highlight just a few things complementary to Vice President Fitto about the report, what we are focusing on, because we are focusing on how cohesion is working and shaping and helping the transition of all of the regions. And we're also focusing on the future. So we understand where we are to set a direction, looking at the new budget proposal. So what we see that while regions are still doing the heavy lifting, because 70% of the implementation of the common legislation has to be done on the local level, we may be pushed out of the room. So we look at that. There is a quiet nationalization of cohesion. This is also a threat that we are looking at. It is not just about money, cohesion policy, it is also about legitimacy. We know that there is a trust crisis, and still the local level holds the highest level of trust from the citizens. We see the industrial transition in the regions, and what we see that 73 regions are facing decline. Many regions are bleeding manufacturing jobs without a prospect of new jobs. We see that competitiveness has to have a territorial dimension. We see that just transition cannot disappear, because competitiveness is not a universal value, justice is one. Housing has become Europe's silent emergency. The housing crisis is emerging from every region. Energy poverty is spreading from the north to the south. It's not just about heating, it's also about cooling. We see a demographic crisis all across Europe. It is about brain drain, it is about hollowing out of some regions, it is about growing population and depopulation, it is about longevity, it is about a gap between men and women's health, and we also see that there is a big reserve, if we look at the economy and the job market, in women's representation in the job market. So there is an untapped reserve there. What we see is public services are thinning out because the share on spending on public services is declining. Also what we see, and I will stop here and we can go to the question, is there is and always been an urban-rural divide, but this divide is hardening with a competition between the resources and with the future challenge in cohesion competing with agricultural policy. So I would like to thank very much for the cooperation, because we had an excellent cooperation from the beginning, a constant dialogue. This is how we managed together with the regions, with the Commission, thanks to Raffaele, the midterm review, and this is the dialogue we want to continue when we look at the future budget and we look at the future of cohesion policy, because both of us understand the relevance. Both of us understand the role of cities and regions. Both of us understand how much this energy and leadership potential has to be present to tackle the challenges. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for the introductions, and now we'll open the floor to questions. Please, in the back. Yes. Yeah. Just press speak on the, press the button on the microphone.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
My name is Annabella Laika of Croatian Radio. Madam President, you were mentioning a few times, I heard you saying challenges and the future. So how do you see the cohesion policy in the future? And Commissioner Fitto, now there are negotiations about the multi-annual budget of the European Union. Also the same question for you. Seeing the challenges that we are facing now, defense investment are getting bigger, and of course the enlargement of the European Union is coming. How do you see the future of the cohesion in the European Union in the years to come? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I always say cohesion policy is not a charity fund. It's the most important long-term stabilizing and investment tool of the European Union, and it was designed to keep the single market functioning, and the single market is the most important pillar of competitiveness in Europe. If you look in the report of the State of Cities and Regions, you will find that, yes, Europe has to be stronger from the outside, that's true, but also it's true, and it's another truth, that it has to be strengthened from the inside, because the fabric, the social, territorial and economic fabric is weakening. It's clear that we need more investments. When I talk about threats, what am I talking about? I'm talking about that in the budget proposal, there is a threat to cohesion policy being nationalized, being defunded, being disconnected, the regions being disconnected from the European Commission. There's a threat with the competition of agricultural funds and cohesion policy, creating a hunger game between farmers and cities. These are the things we see, and we think, and this is what we try to prove with the report and with this week and with our work, that cohesion policy needs to stay.
Yes, thank you. The future of cohesion it is fundamental for the strategy at the European level, in particular regarding the capacity to reduce the disparities between the territories. This is the first point, and we believe that until now we are working in this direction. For example, you mentioned the point regarding the defense, the role of defense. We started with the midterm review with a clear signal in this direction, because the proposal of a midterm review is a voluntary basis, not a decision from the European Commission. And the goal is to create the condition for each member state, each region, to can use these resources in this direction, because we have different situations. For example, and we will speak in these weeks also in this week also regarding the eastern border regions. For example, I visited Finland, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, and I saw directly on the ground how is different the situation between the regions in Europe, for eastern border regions from other regions. And I think that defense can be an important opportunity, a voluntary basis, but the resources of cohesion for defense, in this case, it's a good opportunity because we don't have only the problem regarding defense and security in these territories, but we have also the big problem regarding the economic challenge because in these regions we have a big problems now. Second, the role of cohesion. We have this proposal, this new proposal with the new multi-annual budget, and I think that is important also to start from one point. We have in this proposal the new structure of the budget with the national and regional. It is very important. I would like to underline this point, national and regional plans. The role of the regions is clear also in the regulation of this proposal regarding the defense of the principles of cohesion policy, for example. Second, we have the categories of regions, less developed regions, in transition, and more developed regions. We have an important pre-allocation for less developed regions, 218 billion euro, and I think that this is a clear message in this direction. Now we open a dialogue with the European Parliament and Council regarding this proposal. I think that it can be possible also to work in this direction, but the role of the regions, in my opinion, is a strong role because the regions are close to the territories, know very well the needs, and I think that will be fundamental to confirm this approach to go in this direction also for the future.
Thank you. In the front, please.
Hello. My name is Lucian Bălănuț. I work for Radio Romania Iași, regional public radio. My question is for Executive Vice President Fitto. Following up your comments related to eastern border states and regions and the importance of defense, and given the growing strategic importance for both regional development and European security of the northeast region in Romania, how can cohesion policy and the new SAFE instrument work together to accelerate motorway projects like A8, Ungheni-Iași, Târgu Mureș, ensuring that investments serve both civilian connectivity and military mobility without compromising cohesion objectives? Thank you.
The right approach for the resources for defense is this, to have the approach with the civilian and the military approach for this project. I said before that I visited many member states. I will be in Romania in the next months, but until now I visited almost all member states that are to the border with Russia, Ukraine, Belarus, and other in this situation. And I think that is important to have also the right approach because it is necessary to work together with the member states, the regions. For example, under the Polish presidency, we organized in Poland an important meeting with all stakeholders institutional stakeholders regarding the eastern border regions, and we launched in that occasion the Pact for the eastern border regions. I can say that at the end of this year, the European Commission will adopt an important pact for eastern border regions with a clear situation regarding the needs of these territories and also how it's possible to adapt the policy at this new situation, like the effort that we made in the midterm review, for example, and I think that it's important to go in this direction. During this conference in Poland, was important also to listen to the position of the whole regions and whole member states, and I think that will be important also to continue our work because now in 2 weeks ago closed the public consultation for the Pact for Eastern Border Regions, And the idea is to arrive to have a clear picture regarding this situation, and also to create the condition to have this communication with the position of the perspective of these territories, and at the same time also to adapt the programs to work also to have in the next MFF this position. This is very important because in the national regional plan we have this opportunity, because it will be important to have a tailor-made approach regarding the different situation. I think that the national regional plan of Spain or Italy will be different from the national plan, regional plan of the Eastern member states. I think that it's important to explain this approach, because the goal of this new proposal, of the new structure of the budget, is to have more flexibility and more simplification. And I think that it's possible to achieve these results together with the member states, clearly, but also with the regions, because the role of regions in this situation will be important, and you can see also this approach in the proposal that we will adopt for the Pact of the Eastern Border Regions.
Thank you. Any further questions? The gentleman behind the TV. It's you, yes.
Hi, this is Jacob from Euractiv. So my question goes to Fitto. So basically, DG Budget, two separate occasions have said that the regions will have exactly the same role in this new MFF proposal, whereas you talk about the new structure and the strong role for regions. So will regions have exactly the same role in the next budget proposal or not?
Yes, I think yes, because it is important to have the same role, because the role of the regions, as I said before, it is very important, because it is impossible can imagine a cohesion policy without regions. We have different situations, because it is important also to underline this, because we have in several member states the role of the regions that is stronger, because we have the regions with strong powers, and also that are responsible of the programs. And it will be important when we arrive to open this discussion also to confirm the approach with member states and the regions. For example, last week I went to Berlin, and I have an important meeting with lenders, with the representatives of lenders. It was an important occasion also to verify these points, and also to explain well how is important the role of the regions and the lenders. And we are working in this direction. The new structure is a new structure. It is important also to build the right solution together. I think that the role of the regions will be fundamental, also for the points that I mentioned before. For example, we have in the regulation the principles of cohesion, we have in the regulation the categories of regions, we have in the regulations also the important allocations regarding the regions, and I think that in this direction will be important and possible to work well for the future. And I can say clearly that the role of the regions will be the same also for the future.
Okay, thank you. Maybe over there. Yes?
My name is Alberto Burba. I'm an Italian freelance journalist. A question: food security. Are there any plans in view of the 2050 plan? A couple of days ago, a report from The Lancet came out saying we will be 10 billion and we need to coordinate at the world level. One view: are there any plans for regions in Europe?
The role of the regions also for agriculture and for food security, it is important, in particular in several situations, as I said before, because we have the competence of the regions in this way. And I think that it's important also to build this new approach in this new structure of the budget regarding also, as you know, the second pillar of agriculture inside the national and regional plan. We have the sum of the resources that is clear, because we have in this proposal of the national and regional plan the resources of the current budget of cohesion and the current budget of the second pillar. We have the pre-allocation for the first pillar. It is important, for example, also to have a new approach regarding the new needs that we have. In this week we speak for the rural areas, for the right to stay, for the internal rural areas. It is important in this direction to have a common approach regarding cohesion and agriculture and rural development, for example, because it is very important to have the right approach, because we have the rural developed, but at the same time we have the needs to finance the projects for infrastructure, for public services in these areas. And I think that it is necessary to have this common approach. I think that it is crucial to have the right approach regarding this new proposal of the budget, because in this way it is important also to have more flexibility, as I said. The midterm review, it is a clear example in this direction, because the current programs of cohesion, we spoke many times regarding these, were discussed between the European Commission and Member States from 2019-2021, were signed in 2022, and are starting now. I think that is not possible. And the midterm review goes in this direction, to give more flexibility, to adapt at the new priorities these programs. And I think that in the next MFF proposal we have this new approach regarding this new structure of the budget with more simplification and flexibility. And agriculture, this part of agriculture and cohesion goes in this direction.
Thank you. I will have to take a question from the online system. David Carretta, please.
Yes, thank you very much. David Carretta, Radio Radicale, Italian radio. Apologies not to be in the press room. And thank you for the opportunity. First, a question to President Kata Tüttö. In the Parliament, some groups are planning to reject the MFF proposal and ask the Commission to write it again from scratch. Do you think that it could be useful for cohesion policy or necessary to find a new balance? And if I may, the second question in Italian to Vice President Fitto. Vicepresidente, volevo chiederle come si fa a evitare la gara della fame, così l'ha definita la Presidente Tutto, tra la politica agricola comune e la politica di coesione. Grazie.
Yes, thank you very much. I was quite open about this question from the beginning, that the cities and regions, and it's not just the European Committee of the Regions, where we have the local leaders from the small towns to the presidents of regions all across Europe. But if I look at the letters I've seen from the Italian presidents of regions, I've seen the letters signed by all Spanish presidents of regions, a letter signed by all the Polish presidents of regions, a letter signed by the French regions, a letter signed by German Ländern. They are all rejecting this thinking framework to put the core European policies, cohesion policy, agricultural policy, into one bag and centralize it, nationalize it, detach it from Brussels and give it to the national government. Because we know how it will end. It will be a competition between agricultural policy and cohesion policy. And we don't want cohesion policy to be reduced to a charity fund. Because all of the European regions, if we look at the German regions, we look at the French regions, it's true for them too. Everybody is in transition. Digital, climate, social, industrial transition. And cohesion policy is not just an investment tool, but a very important mainstreaming tool of European policies. This is the policy that guides all regions in line with the European ambitions and European decision-making. So this is what we said from the beginning, that we think that it's a mistake. Because there is this confusion. What is the European budget? The European budget is not the budget of Europe. It's not the sum of the member states' budget. The European budget is a very small budget. It is 1% of the European GDP. It is what the member states decided to spend together to keep the common market, the single market functioning, to keep the European Union, to glue the European regions together. If we take out money from the gluing side and put it somewhere else, that will clearly weaken the fabric. This is how we look at it, but it's clear that we translate the proposals differently. So the dialogue is ongoing. There's a constant translation between the European Commission and the regions, and we'll see when we find a way to understand each other.
Yes, I think that it is important to have the integrated approach regarding agriculture and cohesion. We have in the national regional proposal 781 billion for the national regional plan, with a pre-allocation for the first pillar of agriculture, almost 300 billion, migration, 34, and other voices, but we have under the 453 billion of the national regional plan, cohesion, second pillar of agriculture, fisheries. I think that it is possible to have a common approach regarding this. I am Executive Vice President with the role also the coordination of the Commissioner for Agriculture, Tourism, Transport, Fisheries and Blue Economy. Why? Because it will be necessary to have a common approach regarding all these portfolios. And I think that we have an important challenge for the future, in particular for the internal rural areas, to give an important, crucial answer regarding the situation of the right to stay for the young of these territories. And agriculture, it is the crucial investment in this direction. And I repeat, the second pillar of agriculture with the resources of cohesion, it is fundamental to have the integrated approach. This is the effort that we have in the proposal of the new budget, and we are working in this direction. And I think that will be possible with the common involvement of all stakeholders to have the right solution in this way, also to build the solution for each national and regional plans, because I said before that we will have a different approach in the national and regional plans, because we will have different needs in each member states. And the approach of the European Commission and the proposal with this new situation for the next MFF goes in this way.
Okay, one last question. The lady over there, please.
Chiodi, OBCT Italy. I'd like to ask you about enlargement. Some civil society organizations from candidate countries are advocating to be included in the cohesion in advance. To what extent this is part of the negotiations in concrete?
We'll see with the the agenda of the enlargement. It is not possible now to say a specific situation. Cohesion will be important, but also in this perspective will be important to adapt, to modernize cohesion policy regarding the resources, but also for the perspective, because we have a new situation in Europe regarding in the future, and it will be important also to modernize the approach of cohesion policy also in this way. But cohesion policy, in particular in this perspective, will be crucial and fundamental, because I remember that is the policy that has as a goal the capacity to reduce the disparities between the territories. And with the enlargement, this perspective will be fundamental.
Okay, thank you. I'll have to cut it there. I thank all of you for your active participation. I thank our speakers for the answers they have provided. We'll continue with the midday briefing in a couple of minutes. Thank you.